Welcome, everybody. It's your girl, Delores, just a pink girl in my pink world. Here every Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the good brother, J News. J News, you got to tell something to the good people out there.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your good brother, J News, back at it here once again on the Hit the Ropes podcast with the lovely Delores. Going to break down everything that was in the week of professional wrestling. So strap in and let's have some fun with it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming. You know, life be life and sometimes. So we just a little bit late. It was because of me. But we're going to get over to the Hit the Ropes studio. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Hit the Ropes studio podcast, me and J News, we're going to go to the back. Because you already know what time is it. What time is it? Review time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to review. We're going to start off with WWE. We're going to do Monday Night Raw, 1707 on the 9th on Netflix. WWE, it starts off with it was episode 1707. Starts off with WWE World Tag Team title match. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay Uso, defeated the Alpha Academy of Akira Tozawa and Otis. We had the Elimination Chamber triple threat qualifying match where Rhea Ripley defeated Ivy Nile and Lyra Valkyria. Maxine Dupree and Natty ended in a double countout. We had El Grande Americano and Javon Evans defeat Los Americanos of Bravo Americano and Rayo Americano. Did I say that right, Jay? I always say it wrong. Rayo.
It's Rayo.
See, I was like, you know, the autos, I can do that, but I can't get nothing else. Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match at the end of the night for the men. LA Knight defeated Austin Theory and Penta. J News, did you see any of this, and what did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought that for what I have seen recently on WWE TV, from an in-ring quality standpoint, I feel like this episode of Raw stepped it up quite a bit with all the different matches. I thought that the tag match between the Usos and Alpha Academy was pretty good. Rhea in any setting, Rhea Ripley, that is, in any setting, being a tag setting or being in a single setting, she's just money. And her Ivy Nile and Lyra Valkyria did the damn thing. So the ladies showed out in this match. So I want to just shout out and give props to the ladies there. Maxine Dupree and Natty wanted to start a match, but they weren't able to start a match necessarily. They got at it between each other, but then I believe it was Becky Lynch who got involved at one point during the match.
Yeah, because she still got a thing against Maxine.
She still got that thing against Maxine. So they're still developing or continuing, should I say? They're still continuing with that particular feud, and they've inserted Natty into it as well. So Maxine is still continuing to get a spotlight. The Grande Americano stuff, it's got, you know, the thing that kind of bothers me about the whole Grande Americano thing is that it involves a lot of talented professional wrestlers. And I understand it's part of the comedic aspect of the show because, you know, TV wrestling is supposed to be a variety show. But yeah, it's just not hitting for me. And them putting Javon Evans into this whole thing kind of like took me out of it. The match was cool and all, but yeah, I'm not too keen on Javon being in this Americanos vortex for the time being. And then for the qualifying triple threat match, LA Knight beating Austin Theory and Penta, I figured that was very predictable in the sense of Penta hasn't really been winning much as of late, and he's not as spotlighted as he once was when he first got to the WWE. Austin Theory still seems to be in some sort of character limbo, even though he's a part of the Vision. And LA Knight's the only one with a well-defined character within all this, and has been in the upper mid-card in the WWE landscape within recent times. So it just made all the sense in the world to have LA Knight win this Elimination Chamber qualifying match here. And that went okay. So there was that. That was Raw.
Well, yeah, Penta has also been doing some AAA work. So I think they feel like he's more popular and needed down there. And especially with his brother, they were trying to get them back together. That didn't quite go the way it should have. So, I was more shocked because LA Knight has been in the toilet bowl flushing every time he go to wrestle. So I figured he might not be. He's complained in interviews recently about his booking. So, or he not feeling like he should be at a different level than what he's at. So I kind of figured that maybe they wouldn't get him the rub. But maybe they go give him a shot. WWE do things like they'll give you a shot, and then you don't really mess it up, but it don't go right, and that's the excuse for why they bury you after that. So we'll see. For those who don't know, we'll talk about it at the end of the show. I will be doing Elimination Chamber here on the channel, and we'll talk about a little GCW because GCW has changed a lot of their times for the collective. So Delores might be stupid again and do the collective. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go back to the back. We're going to go on to the next show, which was NXT on the next night. On the 10th, on the CW, it was episode 824, where Blake Monroe versus Jada Parker. Two women, another women's match ended in a double countout. We had a WWE Speed Title #1 Contendership Tournament semi-final match where Eli Knight defeated Josh Briggs. We had for the WWE NXT title match, Joe Hendry defeating Jackson Drake. We had the Vanity Project, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes defeating Hank and Tank, Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. And the last match of the night for the WWE Women's Title #1 Contendership Tag Team match, Zaruka, Sol Ruka, and Zaria defeated Ren QCC of Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair. Did you see any of this, Jay News, and what did you think about it?
As for NXT, it seems like they're developing the feud between Blake Monroe and Jada Parker, which is a good thing. They need a main line. They need a main storyline without a championship attached to it that would get the fans engaged. And I like the dynamics between Blake Monroe and Jada Parker. So this double count out worked to that particular reveal there. So we're going to see more from Jada and Blake Monroe. This first physical interaction was decent. We'll see. We'll definitely get to see more within the coming weeks. And then whenever they hit on whatever their next PLE is, the speed stuff, I can't give the speed title any reverence, any credence at this point. It just doesn't matter to me as a fan. It's nice to see new faces. I don't know. I've seen Eli Knight before, but at the same time, I haven't seen much of him. Josh Briggs being in this particular sphere is also kind of taking me aback here. I feel like Eli Knight should change his name, by the way, but that's just me for all intents and purposes and for obvious reasons. So yeah, WWE work on that. Joe Hendry defeating Jackson Drake and whatnot for the NXT title. The NXT title match being at the middle of the show is quite telling of what they think about Joe Hendry. So I don't necessarily have to go into much of that. I think that NXT and WWE got on the Joe Hendry hype train way too late. So there's that about it. The Vanity Project getting more spotlight time on NXT as they get a win over former NXT Tag Team Champions Hank and Tank. So that's a good win for them as they probably head towards getting title shots in the near future to whoever the NXT Tag Team Champions are right now, who I believe is still the boys from Dark State. And then for the WWE NXT Women's #1 contendership tag team match, we had Zaruka defeating the Ren QCC. For all intents and purposes, Soul pinned Ren Sinclair, I think. But I know Soul got the pin. I just forgot if it was Ren or Kendall Gray. But at the end of the day, Soul got the win. She gets the #1 contender shot for the NXT Women's Championship. And Zarya was not very pleased with that. She gave Soul one of the meanest side eyes I've ever seen in my life. And we're still going down the path of Zarya and Soul Ruka doing the breakup thing. And so they're continuing to extend that. So that's another storyline going on in NXT. And that is NXT in a nutshell.
First off, the Joe Hendry thing. Pretty much he's main roster, but the last 2 appearances he made in NXT, it went mega viral on social media not because of him necessarily, but because Booker T and his ad libs again, like he did with Trick. He was like, I don't hit J, and it went so viral that people were like reacting to it, and it had like millions of views, that they decided, okay, they're gonna continuously bring him down and then Booker does the thing again. Joe hit Jay. Like, the craziest thing is like, why y'all just leave him on the main roster? Like, just leave him where, y'all brought Oba and all of them up, and y'all brought him up. That was great, okay? Because SmackDown was his home, right? So why don't y'all just leave him there? But again, Booker being Booker, acting a fool, they decided Booker should do. Booker does this low key on a lot of the entrances, but sometimes it just clicks with a person's entrance, and you can't stop it. Like, even I cannot not hear Trick Williams' theme song and not immediately do the ad libs. Like, well, I can't help it. So I didn't see why they brought him down, because they were going viral and it was a sensation. But now it's like, okay, it's cool. Send him back. And no sense of him coming back down here and doing these matches for no reason. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the back. Me and J News, back in the back again. Back again. On to SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. SmackDown was episode 1382 on the 13th on the USA Network. We have the WWE Women's Tag Team title match where Io Sky and Rhea Ripley versus, again, what's up with the women matches? Why the men don't go through this all week long? Do you notice this trend? That the women have had double countouts. So we had the irresistible forces of Lash Legend and Nia Jax. They ended up in a double countout. The MFTs, JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb, Solo Sikoa, Tonga Loa defeated Apollo Crews, Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, Matt Cardona, and Shinsuke Nakamura. We had the non-title elimination chamber qualifying triple threat match where Alexa Bliss defeated Julia and Zelina Vega. And again, we're going to talk about that, James. Trenton Williams defeated Ray Phoenix. WWE Women's title match, Jade Cargill defeated Jordan Grace. For the elimination chamber qualifying triple threat match for the men, Cody Rhodes defeated Jacob Fatu and Sami Zayn. I want to say, as I bring us back up, I do. First of all, what is up with the subtle name changes that they do at WWE? And like we too stupid to remember who they are. Okay, first of all, Jeff Cobb is Jeff Cobb. I understand what Richie Saints wanted to do, so I let him go with that. Zelina Vega, we kept calling her that for years, and now y'all just want to all of a sudden call her Zelina. Makes me sick. Also, I didn't say it last week, but shout out to my brother Cody Rhodes for essentially giving us a Black History moment by calling his member Raheem. Okay. He didn't forget about it. You didn't see that, J News?
Unfortunately, I did. Mm-hmm. Now, at first when I saw it, I went with the joke, right? Because at the end of the day, he was just engaging in meme culture, right? Because that's been floating around for years now, right? With Cody Rhodes. Not to say that it wasn't cringe at the same time, but two things can be true at the same time, right? It's funny and it's also cringe at the same time, right? I just never thought he would do it on TV, to be quite honest.
And he always does and somebody went back on TikTok and did all the time that when he has the microphone at AEW or WWE during Black History Month, he says something to acknowledge that it's Black History Month somehow, or Black people. He does it every year. What we thought, I never, when we started our Black History Month, he didn't say that, and I was like, well, maybe the system don't got him. But then when he come up with this clever way to say that his member is big enough, I said, I didn't think you were gonna say
that. That's where I was at. I didn't think he would say something like that, and it was, like I said, it was funny in the moment, cringe ultimately. I'll give credit where credit is due in the sense that Cody tries any and everything, so I'll give him credit there. It just, I don't know, man. I don't know, but hey. I guess the fan base,
it went viral too, and people were like reacting. Some people clip their live to just show the part where he was just like, "This is what," and he was like, "Yo, they, a little contest." So it was like, okay, and he was like, they don't want me in it because they don't call me Raheem for nothing. And I was up there like, oh my God, is this what you do? Because if you flash back a year ago, he was on the bus with his wife interviewing her. He said, how do you feel about these Raheem memes that be going on? And she's like, I don't care. It ain't hurt nobody. And he's like, so them comparing me to Raheem and putting me in different Black history things. She's like, I don't care. It's not hurting nobody. Nobody's getting hurt by it. I feel like that was a test of water to see, even if the clip went viral, just to see if people would go get insulted. And then he felt like, I'm gonna put my stuff on the table right here. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. We was all like,
I mean, he said it, and it went, and the fans engaged with it. They popped for it, so it worked for all intents and purposes. So I can't necessarily knock him for trying that. I was just surprised that he even went there, especially with how, the intention of I know that it's probably one of his most infamous promos when he was back in AEW, and how well intentioned he was about the promo that he did in regards to his daughter and things of that nature and his wife, but it didn't go over well, right?
It was I have a dream speech. He tried to get
yeah. So at the end of the day, I just didn't know how well received this was, and people ate this up, and it just, from a macro standpoint, and this is just me being.
But this is something that's been happening. Was it last year?
Yeah. I know.
Around February when he went to NXT and got invited to the cookout.
Yeah.
So it's the running theme for the Black History Month that Cody got to say or do something. Right. He got to say or do something. And so, listen, as an African American who pays attention to social media, allegedly, I'm gonna say it like allegedly, but I saw with my own eyes, Cody has had other accounts that say totally opposite things to what comes out his mouth. Okay, he Allegedly, he liked to wear red hats, okay? But I ain't judging him. I'm like, do what you do, because I'm assuming your wife ain't having it, okay? But Cody has a history, even back when he was making them I still want one of those shirts, them no limit type shirts with him and the dog on the tank. I swear, Cody has always somehow been tapped in a little bit where he pays attention enough to like get his stuff off in a way that I don't think nobody else can. I mean, my favorite thing, if you ever watch a watch along and Cody comes out, is what American, okay? Name another American who can go around screaming about America and wearing American clothes in other countries and get people to sing a song and essentially admit that it's like they out there wooing and cheering him on. And the total opposite of some of the places he's been at, they will boo. Let's say Americano come out, they booing them to death. So it's like, I can admit he gets his stuff out. The Jade and Jordan match, I hate to say that J News is right. Okay? I hate that, okay? I hate it with a passion. Look into my eyes, y'all. When J News was like, I don't think she getting better. And I was like, no, she improving a little bit. I think we've hit a plateau. And I'm sad to say that. It hurt my heart. Also, it hurt my heart that she was in Saudi Arabia. I mean, looking good in Saudi Arabia. And they didn't use her for the verb, but what was the purpose? Make that make sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it is what it is with her specifically. I didn't watch any clips of Jade versus Jordan Grace, so I can't comment on the match itself. My hope, just from my wrestling fandom brain, was that Jordan, being the veteran that she is, would have carried the match for Jade as much as she could have. But the size difference does matter in matches like this. So depending as to, whatever they agree to do in the back, if it looked good, if it didn't look good, and things of that nature, it's tricky, man. It's tricky. But to what you were saying before, Delores, she hit a ceiling a while ago, as in Jade, and it is what it is. She has her goals. She hasn't been quiet about it as to what her goals are, especially being in the WWE and all that jazz, which is fine, I guess. You can always respect someone's goals and using a particular platform as a step and things of that nature. But like, if you're not gonna, let me rephrase, if this is your 100% on this level and the WWE is seeing that, either find a way to clean up this 100% or do something else with it, because her holding that WWE women's title right now isn't lending for a spotlight match at WrestleMania 42.
Yes. And okay. I'm trying to find the words that are very nice. I'm trying to be positive, Jadis. If I could think of a song to describe how Jay wrestled in this match, it would be Slow Motion. It just like, even the ending, J News, where Jordan Grace picks her up, she's going for her move. She throws her off her shoulders. Jade lands on her feet. The pump kick was like, it felt like you were moving in slow motion to kick this woman in the face. Not saying the match was bad. I'm just saying that it could be better, way better. And it was Jordan Grace tried her best to kind of like, it almost seemed like ease her into, doing stuff. And I kind of think that what stunted her growth, which I know somebody's gonna be like, Dolores AEW hating. I don't. I love AEW and I love their stuff. But what stunted her growth was when she was out there smashing it the first part of her AEW run, and she was very hard hitting, and they had that conversation with her like, you hitting these women like it's real life. You got to pull up a little bit. When they started telling her to pull up and pull her punches and kicks, she literally, like, instead of getting like where she putting her foot in your face, she kind of stops halfway before she gets to your face. Like, your face comes to my foot, not my foot coming to your face. Which makes me, and she's had so many botches, and I'm like, do what you used to do. These type of women like Jordan Grace, these are the type of Julia, are these type of women, you can literally hit them hard. They're not gonna complain about it. And if they do, they might tell you a better way to do it. But instead of you like forearms, it's like she used to hit them like forearms. She looked like she was knocking teeth out. Now it looks like I'm just gonna I'm gonna baby you real quick. That's not what we want to see. And I hate to say it because I've been caping for her for a while because I did see some improvements in her wrestling, but I also see what J News sees now, and I'm like, sad. Also in WWE news, I don't know if you saw J News, Bianca Belair for Valentine's put out a also for first and purpose. What you hear guggling is my plants in the background. They've been through 4 gallons of water this week. They thirsty. Okay. So her and Montez put a Valentine's out, which is a little suspicious. First of all, she has her typical big coat on. She's laying down. She doesn't show her body. You know how like she normally stands there and she shows her body off? She doesn't show her body off. Montez looks bigger. He shows his body, the top part of his body. And her caption was something like, sorry that he's getting thicker. I'm showing him more love. And people out in social media were like, is she coming back? And if she's not coming back, is she having a Naomi moment? Like, because him and her both been really off, and he's a little thicker now, which is not like Montez. So what's been going on? She likes to show off her body. She like Jay. She likes to show off her body in photos and photo shoots. So to see that was like, man, why you got this big giant coat on? What are you hiding? And so that's been swirling around because that was very unusual. Like, they normally take these hot photos, they have dressed, whatever, and this time it was not like that. So, and she hasn't came back, and her hand seems very much fine. Hey, Tori, how are you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, go check out Tori's brain. I don't know when he coming back with games and stuff. I've been busy, so when he had his last few games, I've been missing it. But I didn't know if you saw that, J News. I was like, let me ask see if J News saw that.
I did not. Hey, Tori, by the way. I did not see that. And for all intents and purposes, just based on your explanation of it all, yeah, I can't call it. I can't call it.
Yeah, because she's been on video and pictures, and the hand looks better. So that's not the problem. I don't know what is.
It can look better, but does she feel better with it? Is really more or less the story. You just explained, she was covered up. She's a woman who's known for showing off her physique and things of that nature. And if she's no longer doing that, is she covering something up? I don't know. There's too many internet sleuths out there at the end of the day. The Montez's thing is more out there, right? Because there was video that went out last week that the Street Profits did a house show, and Montez had put on a significant amount of weight and things of that nature. Most people believe that he's putting on weight to cut it back down because he's trying to get bigger and have a bigger physique and things of that nature, which is fine. it's just, I think if something is going on with them personally, right? Let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, if the goal was for her to get pregnant at some point and she is pregnant, right? I, there's one thing to be private, right? About your personal life and things of that nature. There's one thing to be that. But at the same time, she is a public figure. She has had a reality show, and I think fans know that that's something that she wants to do. I think fans would be okay with the fact that she's having a baby if that's the case, right? If that's the case. Now, if that's not the case, and things are just not in a good place with her physically due to injury and stuff like that, it's more of a you know, I get that performers don't have to give fans updates and stuff like that, but it becomes a black hole on the internet specifically, because there's always going to be somebody wondering. People are going to be asking questions, making up narratives and stuff like that or whatever, and folks will run with it, right? And then that sort of stuff becomes news or clickbait or headlines, and that sort of stuff happens unnecessarily until someone has to go ahead and clear it up, right? So in this case, it's more of the don't give us the details, but give us something to know as to are you coming back soon? Say no. Are you coming back in the next 6 months? Say yes or no. You don't have to tell me what exactly it is that you're doing or what exactly it is that's coming down, but it's like something would be better than nothing, because all we have now is just a complete page of speculation as to what's going on with them and what the real is. And I think that's, in this day and age, that's more detrimental than it is helpful. So
yeah, especially, and I can understand, because the rule is that you wait 5 or 6 months, make sure everything's safe, and you announce whatever you need to announce. Naomi had to do it because she had to drop the title, and you have to explain, just like Becky when she had the briefcase, you have to explain why this turn of events is happening. So I can understand that, but it's like she's subtly dropping something. And I don't know if she's trying to tell us, like, we've had wrestlers in before who are able to come back, but they not being written in, and maybe they do pictures and videos and stuff like that to kind of get internet hyped up so they could get written into something. I don't know, but it was just kind of like suspicious that, he's gotten a little past a little. He done got a little chunky, and she was just hiding herself. And I'm like, are y'all both chunky? Is that why you hiding, or you trying to hide something? But, ladies and gentlemen, me and J News, we're going to the back. And we're going on AAA, Lucha Libre Worldwide. They have more. Oh, skipping over. It was episode number 5. It was on YouTube. Also, in Spanish countries, it comes on Fox. I was on the 14th AAA World Tag Team title, number 1 contendership 3-way match. The Royal Raiders, Eric and Ivar, defeated Los Americanos, Bravo and Rayo Americano, and the Money Machine of, that's J News right there.
Money Machine, Colmillo de Plata and Garra de Oro. Interesting.
Yes, that was that. I don't know what none of that is. Non-title match, we had El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. defeating, that's J News word.
No, that's not even a Spanish word. It's just not. No, I'm not. I have no idea what that is. Belsegor, I never heard of it, never seen it spelled that way. Not my entire life. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Sorry.
Yeah, well, J News don't know. I definitely don't know. La Park defeated Jack Cartwell. Again, we're doing a lot of backstage segments and video packages So me and Jay News, we're gonna move on to the next show, which is AEW. We're gonna go AEW Dynamite episode 331. Oh, there we go. On this got the wrong date. It was it was the Wednesday on TBS HBO Max. The Don Callis family, El Colon, Josh Alexander, Konosuke Takeshita defeated the Death Riders. Daniel Garcia, John Moxley, and Pac. Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm defeated Brittany Brooks and Jordan Oasis. Adam Page defeated Mark Davis. Andrade El Idolo defeated Kenny Omega. AEW Women's Tag Team Title Eliminator match. Mega Bad, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford defeated the Babes of Wrath of Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. We had the AEW National Title match where Ricochet defeated Jack Perry. And for the AEW Eliminator Title match, Brody King defeated MJF. He stopped that. J News, what did you think about this show?
So this was Dynamite. I felt like this week's episode of Dynamite was a banger episode of Dynamite. The way that they started off the show with Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland doing their face-off and getting their verbal barbs in, and then it becoming a brawl all over the arena. I thought they started off the show hot that way. Then it went into the Don Callis family versus Death Riders match, which I thought was fun. At the end of the day, we're still getting to see El Clone and Josh Alexander perform on a weekly basis. This was more or less to preview the Konosuke Takeshita versus John Moxley one-on-one match that happened yesterday at Grand Slam Australia. Danny Garcia getting some action in there because it's been a couple of weeks since Danny's been on Dynamite, wrestling in the ring. But that match went okay. Not the best match of the night, but it was a good way to start the show after the segment that Kenny and Swerve had. We then had Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm beating a returning Brittany Brooks and Jordan Oasis. This was Brittany Brooks' second appearance on AEW TV during the week. She had already made one on Collision on the previous week. And I also believe she made a ROH appearance with AEW as well when they were in Las Vegas. So good shout and good look for Brittany Brooks. She did the job. She looked good in there, taking the bumps and making the making her opponents look like $1 million. So maybe she warrants another look in the near future from AEW. I think Brittany Brooks has a bright future ahead of her, and she's a good pro wrestler. So look out for her stuff on the indies whenever you can. Adam Page defeated Mark Davis in a knockdown, drag out, meat on meat battle. Those two dudes really did much more with the amount of time that they had than they had the right to. So props to those guys there. Andrade El Idolo defeated Kenny Omega in a banger of a match. At the end of the day, this wasn't from this past week. This was the week prior, or is that the wrong date, Dolores? Because it's
the wrong date.
Okay.
Yeah, let me double check. Because let me go back and look. They're gonna make me fight them.
Yeah, because the Andrade versus Kenny match was in the previous week.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let me go back to it.
Because it wasn't this week.
The thing, sometimes it does that where like if I put it in and it doesn't take the slide, it'll just kick the old slide in. 331 Dynamite. On that Dynamite, we had, if it stops swirling, it wants to do its own thing today. There we go. We had the Don Callis family, the Death versus the Death Riders. We had Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm, Brittany Brooks, Adam Page, Mark Davis. So yeah, Brody King and MJF. That was on 2-4, the date wrong, 2-4. The right match is wrong date. Oh, we on 332. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's on the 11th. There we go.
Yeah,
Death Riders versus Don Callis family again. But the Death Riders won. And a title change where Kyle Fletcher won the AEW TNT title match against Tommaso Ciampa.
That's what should go in place of the Andrade match instead of the Kenny Omega match, because that match didn't happen on Dynamite this past week. That was the previous week.
And then the Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong defeated Clark Connors and Daniel Garcia. We had for the AEW World Tag Team title #1 contendership match. We had the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, defeating Private Party of Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, and also beating the Rascals of Desmond Xavier and Myron Reed. And we had a title change for the AEW Women's World Title Strap match, where Thekla defeated Chris Statlander.
Yeah, like I said, it was a fun episode of Dynamite. The main event between Thekla and Chris Statlander was definitely a banger. It was definitely something that was different for the ladies. It was the first time I recall watching a strap match between two women. They went all out like I thought that they would. Definitely a surprising change. That being Thekla winning the women's championship off of Chris Statlander. Also, to talk about the one of the TV matches of the year between Tommaso Ciampa and Kyle Fletcher for the TNT championship. Man, Tommaso Ciampa has come into AEW and definitely validated everything that he thinks about himself and everything that he's been able to provide to the wrestling industry in all the years that he's been in it. At the end of the day, he's definitely a hooper, as they call him, and his match with Kyle Fletcher on Wednesday was something tremendous and something that people should definitely go back and watch. One of the best matches I've seen be a part of Kyle Fletcher and or Tommaso Ciampa's portfolio in their careers and stuff like that. Kyle Fletcher winning the TNT championship was also a surprise to me in that sense as well. I felt like they could have done something a little bit differently. But I'm not too sure as to what Tommaso Ciampa's schedule was this weekend, or if he had something else previously planned to do, because he wasn't on the Grand Slam shows. So I'm not too sure as to how that all worked out. But I would have loved to have seen Ciampa versus Kyle Fletcher at Grand Slam Australia and Kyle Fletcher win the belt there. I think it would have been a bigger and better moment. But the match that we got between Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, match 7, was no slouch at the end of the day, and we'll talk about that when we get to Grand Slam. But another fun episode of Dynamite, and AEW TV strong right now, so can't say much about that.
Yes, we're on to ROH, Ring of Honor Wrestling. We had ROH on the 12th, episode 154. You can find on ROHWrestling.com or the app. We had ROH World Tag Team title match where La Facción Ingobernable, which is Sammy Guevara and the Beast Mortos, defeating Top Flight of Dante and Darius Martin. We had Michael Oku and the Von Erichs, Marshall and Ross Von Erich defeat O'Day, OXP, and Timur the Great. Listen, I need y'all to come when y'all come for these matches, even if you know you're gonna lose. Come up with a good name, okay? Persephone defeated Julissa. We had Dalton Castle and the Outrunners, Truth Magnum and Tarboy Floyd defeat KM, Nathan Cruz, and Rosario Grillo. We had Lance Archer defeat Will All Day. We had Matt Bandito, Commander Mascara Dorada, and Zelio. That's how I pronounce it. Zelio.
Yeah, Gelua. Yeah, it's even tough for me, so it is what it is.
Defeat the premier athletes of Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, and the swirl of Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. Janu, did you see any clips from this, and what did you think?
The only thing that popped out on clip-wise from ROH this past weekend was the match and bout between Persephone and Julissa Mexa. People were online, specifically folks were going off about it in a good way. It seems like Persephone and Julissa Mexa put on a hell of a wrestling clinic in there. And they both showed out. Persephone got the win. Persephone, who has a dual contract both with CMLL and AEW, continuing to make her rounds on ROH. I hope to see her more on Dynamite and Collision in the coming months and weeks. Julissa Mexa is a tremendous athlete. She was formerly in NXT years ago, left NXT for specific reasons. So that has been, those reasons have been documented. If folks want to go online and research as to why Julissa Mexa left the WWE/NXT, and there's that part of it. But then also to mention what was going down in this match, Julissa Mexa did her damnedest to impress and to be in there and do her part and make Persephone look like $1 million, and let alone make herself look like $1 million. So hopefully we see more of Julissa Mexa on ROH TV and maybe even AEW TV. That's a name Tony Khan should definitely keep his eyes on to add to the women's roster, because she's definitely super talented. So I wanted to mention that specifically about ROH, because that seemed to have been the most standout thing to happen on ROH this past week.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, J News is gonna come to the back with me. We're gonna go. Collision did not happen this week, but it'll be back on the 21st. On to AEW Grand Slam that took place yesterday. You can go find it on your pay-per-view provider, however you find it. It was AEW Grand Slam Australia 2026. We had Jon Moxley in the AEW Continental title match defeat Konosuke Takeshita. We had a mixed tornado tag of Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm defeating the Death Riders of Marina Shafir and Willa Yuta. We had AEW Women's Tag Team title match with the Babes of Wrath versus... Did I say versus? Oh, did I end it? They defeated them. Defeated the Death Riders of Marina Shafir and Willa Yuta, and Kyle Fletcher defeated Mark Briscoe for the AEW TNT ladder match. And last but not least, MJF retained to his AEW World Title against Brody King. J News, how did you feel about this pay-per-view?
Well, it wasn't a pay-per-view. Let's be fair here.
Special show.
So it was a special for the folks in Australia. I enjoyed the Grand Slam Australia show. I think that it went off really, really well. Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita's time limit draw played out as best as it could. I think that we're gonna go back to the well on this for Revolution, and we're probably gonna get a longer time limit to get it to get an actual winner between the two of them. So this feud between Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita is not over. But I thought that they had a great opening match there. The Braves of Wrath defeating Megabad was something that I didn't predict. I did a preview show over on True Heel Heat, and I went with Megabad to win the women's tag team championships, just because I feel like the championship scene in the women's division has been sort of stale, because they had the championships all within a specific group of ladies at the end of the day. So being that they had just taken the belt off of Chris Statlander, I thought that they would take at least the tag team belts off of the Babes of Wrath, but they didn't. I thought that this match that the Babes of Wrath had with Megabad was better than the first match that they had. That's my personal opinion at the end of the day. And the way that Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron retained here was solid. Post-match, it seems that Megabad has added a third person to their units. Lena Cross, a Australian product who has been signed to AEW actually for quite some time. She came out and she reintroduced herself to the AEW crowd, and she was out there in front of her her home country's crowd and things of that nature. And she kicked
they gave her a graphic this weekend.
Yeah, they gave her the All Elite graphic afterwards. She kicked the heads off of Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. So it seems that this is going to be the story here or part of the story here that the Babes of Wrath are going to have some sort of an intermittent feud with Mega Bad, or they might change the team up here, and Lena Cross might be the one who's teaming with Penelope Ford going forward, while Megan Bayne takes a shot at some singles gold. Who knows? But there'll be a different iteration of the Mega Bad tag team going forward, I think, based on what happened post match. Adam Page and Andrade El Idolo. The match was a banger, but I was disappointed in the finish. Should have not the finish. I was disappointed in the result. I felt like this was the opportunity for AEW to do something different. I felt like it was the opportunity for AEW to go with the hot hand in Andrade El Idolo to get the win here. And they didn't do that. They went with Adam Page. They had Hanger beat Andrade here. And Adam Page beating Andrade now means that Adam Page is going to face MJF at Revolution, a match we've already seen plenty of times over the last 7 years of the existence of AEW's company. So I was a little disappointed in the result, but not the match. So I thought, like I said, I thought the match was a banger. Andrade and Adam Page, I don't think they have bones in them to give us bad matches, and they definitely delivered with their one-on-one there. The mixed tornado tag match, the match itself was way better than it had business being. I thought that them really leaning into the mixed tag intergender stuff made for a refreshing visual, and it just seemed like Wheeler Yuta was gloves off with Tony Storm, and Marina Shafir was gloves off with Orange Cassidy, and that lent to a very unique visual dynamic and stuff like that, and it felt like the match actually had stakes, and people were fighting for something important, and they were. It was a hair versus hair match. Eventually, Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm got the win. They pinned Wheeler Yuta, so the obvious did happen, even though I felt like something else should have happened, but it is what it is there. Not mad at it at all. Everybody got their chunk of hair out. When they brought the bench out to cut Wheeler Yuta's hair, Wheeler Yuta tried to run from getting his hair cut, but Jon Moxley surprisingly stopped him midway through the crowd, got him back into the ring. Marina Shafir held Wheeler Yuta's hand while he had to sit in that chair. And Orange Cassidy, Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa, and Luther all got a chunk of hair off of Wheeler Yuta while he sat in that bench getting his hair buzzed off. Very entertaining match. Very entertaining part of the segment post match while they cut Wheeler's hair, and the match was good. On top of that, we then have the AEW TNT title ladder match, which I figured after they announced it that it was going to be brutal, it was going to be a banger, it was going to be good to great, and they didn't disappoint at the end of the day. Even though I didn't want to see this match, this is the end of it. It's game 7. Kyle Fletcher wins 4-3. Hell of a match, super brutal, blood, high spots, low spots, and everything else in between. Mark Briscoe is generational for what it is that he's able to do with ladders. He's been proving that since his days in ROH with his brother Jay as a tag team, and what he's been able to do as a singles competitor on AEW TV has been nothing short of fantastic. So props to those two guys. Kyle Fletcher for retaining the TNT title here. As to where they go from here with the TNT championships, I would figure, due to the recent loss, that Tommaso Ciampa will lean into the psycho killer character, and he will be stalking Sylvie in the more not too distant future, and we'll see a rematch between Kyle Fletcher and Tommaso Ciampa for that championship, probably for Revolution. And then to end the night, I thought that the main event was terrific. The in-ring storytelling between MJF and Brody King was flawless in my eyes. Brody King selling the knee, MJF going after it, being aggressive, and things of that nature. And Brody King selling was was something that, to the degree that it happened last night during the main event, something that I hadn't necessarily noticed and or seen before, put on a pedestal. And last night, it was something to behold. I feel like the match elevated Brody King even with the loss here. It wasn't some sort of chicanery loss. MJF didn't beat him with a chair or knock him out with the ring. Like, it was a clean win over Brody King, which I was a little bit surprised at. But at the end of the day, it still did show that Brody King can hang in the main event title scene. And I feel like Brody King should be kept in at least the upper mid card for AEW, either vying for the Continental, the International, the TNT, the National Championship. Whatever you want to put on Brody King, put it on him, man, because he deserves that. And his body of work now shows that at the end of the day. Post-match, after MJF won the match, we had Hangman Adam Page come down with his recently won number one contendership contract. He signed it in front of MJF. He put it in MJF's chest, and Tony Khan and therefore commentary then announced that it'll be MJF versus Hangman Adam Page at Revolution in LA. So that's going to be the feud going forward until the pay-per-view. But all in all, Grand Slam Australia, I thought did the job. Regardless of the fact of how much of it was predictable, it still was enjoyable. And yeah, man, props to AEW, props to the fans out in Australia, man. I think they sold out the arena last night, at least not over 9,500 people there, close to 10,000 or maybe even over. And then I know that they had the show, the house show today. News came about that the lovely ladies of the Inspiration are now all elite, as per the house show. So I just wanted to put that out there for folks that weren't aware. The Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics, Jessie McKay and her tag team partner. Why am I blanking on her name right now? Jesus Christ, Sean Spears' wife. Cassie Lee, there you go. So Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay are now a part of All Elite Wrestling. They're going to be part of the women's tag division, and they had themselves a match on the Brisbane show. So they just the clip that I saw didn't show as to who they had a match with. They just showed the ladies from the Inspiration cutting a promo and saying that they were all elite and things of that nature. So good debut for them on the house show. I'm sure they'll be on TV this coming week, either on Collision or Dynamite. So I just wanted to let folks know that. But that, all in all, was the Grand Slam Australia weekend for AEW, which I think, from the looks of things and from what was going on online, was a success.
Yes, I enjoyed it too. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take J News back in the back with me. And we're going to move on to TNA Thursday Night Impact. They're going to change the name. It comes on AMC. It was on the 12th, episode 1126, where we saw Nick Nemeth defeat Rich Swann. We had the Albuquerque street fight where Marseille defeated Ryan Nemeth. We had the System, Bear Bronson, Brian Myers, Cedric Alexander, and Eddie Edwards defeat Mike Santana, Moose, and the Hardys of Jeff and Matt Hardy. I know J News don't watch their regular programming, so we're going to move on to the second thing that TNA had. It was No Surrender. Go back. No Surrender. No Surrender took place on Friday the 13th. It was the countdown. Had two shows, two matches, which was on YouTube. It was a Sinner and Saint, Judas Icarus and Travis Williams, defeating Brad Attitude and TW3. We had Frankie Kazarian defeating Alan Angels on that pre-show. Then we go on to the main part of the show, where it came on TNA Plus, or your pay-per-view provider. TNA Knockouts World Title #1 Contendership Battle Royal, where Jody Threat defeated Elena Black, Harley Hudson, Jada Stone, Mara Sade, Mila Moore, Mila Grace, Rosemary, Tasha Steele, that lady who made me sick, TB, and Victoria Crawford. Okay. We had a title change in the TNA International. Sorry, I always wanted to give them the Continental. International title, where Trey Miguel defeated Channing Lorenzo. Mance Warner defeated Mike Jackson. For the TNA Knockouts World title match, we saw the Elegance brand, Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance, defeat Indy Hartwell and Zaya Brookside. Eric Young defeated BDE. For the TNA Knockouts World title match, we saw a title change where Ariana Grace defeated Li Ying Lee. We saw Order of 4, John Hodge, John Schuyler, Mustafa Ali, and Special Agent Zero defeat the Hardys of Matt and Jeff Hardy and the Righteous of Dutch and Vince. We saw Leon Slater and Mike Santana defeat Eddie Edwards and Nick Nemeth. Did you see any of this, Jay News, and what did you think?
No, I didn't see any of this. Nor did
I
pay
would say
attention to
that the build up to this was very trashy. And the show it had spots, but overall, I would think that their production would have gotten better, way, way better than what they produced. But it's just a typical TNA show. And their everyday week shows are being cut down to a lot of segments and video packages, which is not the greatest thing you want to see. So back to the back, J News goes. You already know what I'm about to talk about. JCW. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Game Changer Wrestling, that hardcore wrestling. You know, if it's hardcore, you can find me right there. And you know what we had on yesterday? It was the coldest winter for. Listen, my heart cold. Listen, this show was just for me. You know, 10 and all of them, and I don't know about J New, but all you people out there in them relationships, married and stuff like that, I was out here being cold as ice for the coldest winter for. Ladies and gentlemen, it came on Triller TV, and we had they did put the whole slide up there. They want to be mean. But the coldest winter, we had Gringo Loco, Ray Arez, and it didn't put it up there. Hold on, it didn't put it up there. And my whole computer system just went down. Jesus. Don't be mean to me. Why are you being mean to me? I would say I like the show overall, but I was also watching AEW, but you know, GCW, it has a way of taking my heart away from a lot of things, especially when you're getting light tubes and folks getting stuck in the head. I very much get interested. Most people like that is weird, but I love it. We had Viperous defeat Brittany Brooks and Shotzi Blackheart. We had Joey Janela defeat Chris Masters. Sorry. We had KJ Orso defeat El Phantasma. We had One Kyle Manders defeat Hammerstone. We had Buster in the Brain, which is Alex Price and Jordan Oliver, along with Miggy Rose defeat Gringo Loco and Ray Arez and Vendador. We had, for the GCW World Title match, Atticus Cougar defeating Alley Catch by a referee decision, which they tried to take each other out.
Delores, it seems like you're muted.
I don't know why the mute didn't want to come on. But Atticus Cougar and Alley Catch ended the referee decision with the Brothers of Funstruction, Ruffo the Clown, and Yabo the Clown defeat CPA and Rob Shit. Again, I'm going to say it again. That's his name. That I didn't want to call him that. Crew defeated Matt Tremont in 1 minute and 6 seconds. He tried to send him into the upper room. I thought I was going to have to sing slow singing and flower bringing. And for the GCW Ultraviolet title match, Otis Cougar and defeated Cyclope. I overall enjoyed this show. So if you know, I would say this is something you should go back and watch, especially if you're into hardcore wrestling. Okay, now to the favorite part of the show. It is New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it's time for J News.
Yeah, we have the New Beginning show, which went down last Wednesday, February 8th. So we had, this is one of the Road 2 shows that just happened, as a matter of fact, back on the 8th. I'm sorry. The actual New Beginning show happened on the 11th. But for the Road 2 show, we had Hiromu Takahashi defeating Masatori Yasuda. Katsura Murashima and Tiger Mask defeated Shomakato and Tomoaki Hanma. Team DK's Hartley Jackson, Kosei Fujita, Ryohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Bishimon's Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, along with Oleg Bolton and Ryusuke Taguchi. House of Torture's Dick Togo, Doki, Ren Narita, and Yujiro Takahashi defeated Aaron Wolf, Master Wato, Toru Yano, and Yo. El Desperado, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura defeated the Unbound Co's Daiki Nagai, Oscar, and Yuto Ice. Unbound Co's Drill Maloney, Hiromu Takahashi, Robbie X, Taiji Ishimori defeated United Empire's Great Okan, Hanare, Jacob Austin Young, and Zane J, and the United Empire's Callum Newman, Francisco Akira, and Jake Lee defeated Unbound Co's David Finley, Gato, and Yota Tsuji via referee's decision, due to the fact that the match never started and it was just a melee brawl to end that night. Then we have the New Beginning in Osaka, which took place on the 11th of February. In the pre-show match, we had a going away match for the Young Lions. Togi Makabe and Toru Yano defeated Katsura Murashima and Shomakato. Katsura Murashima and Shomakato of the Young Lion crop are now graduating, and they will be going on their respective excursions. Shomakato will be going on an excursion to Mexico over to CMLL. It is yet to be known as to where Katsura Murashima will be going for excursion. That has not been announced yet, but this was Katsura Murashima's last show. Shomakato will be doing shows as part of Fantastica Mania when CMLL arrives to Japan to do that tour, which is, I think, is only going to be 1 or 2 nights this year in comparison to what it was in previous years. And then Shomakato is going to leave for CMLL with the Mexican contingent once the short tour is over. But like I said before, Katsura Murashima's destination for excursion is still not known yet. The Unbound Codes, Hiromu Takahashi and Taiji Ishimori defeated the United Empire's Francisco Akira and Jacob Austin Young. The result of this match surprised me. I thought that the United Empire would win here, with Hiromu Takahashi being announced that he's going to be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. I figured that Hiromu, or they would make Hiromu do business, as they say in the wrestling industry and things of that nature, but they didn't. Hiromu Takahashi actually got the pin in this match. Post-match, Francesco Akira attacked Hiromu Takahashi and beat him down some after some celebratory antics with Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori. We then had Robbie X come out for the save. He saved Hiromu from that beatdown from Francesco Akira and Jacob Austin Young. And then we had a little bit of a celebratory moment for Hiromu Takahashi there. Hiromu then joined Japanese commentary for the rest of the night. After this particular segment, we then had the War Dragons, Dylan Maloney and Shingo Takagi defeat the United Empire's Great Okan and Nare. This was a fine match. It was then presented and announced by Drilla Maloney post-match after the win. The Drilla Maloney just signed a new contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling, so he will be staying in New Japan Pro Wrestling along with the Unbound Co. So it seems like Drilla Maloney and Shingo Takagi will be a mainstay part of the heavyweight tag team division there. So the War Dragons will continue on. Hopefully they get a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight Champions in the future. And the Great Okan and Hanare look great. Okan is Okan, and that leaves a lot to be desired nowadays. So do with that what you will. For the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championship match, we had Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi, along with Oleg Bolton, the champions, defeat TMDK's Hartley Jackson, Ryohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. This match was terrific. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm usually not a fan of whatever matches Oleg Bolton is involved in, but for all intents and purposes, this one went and it banged, and it was one of the better Never Openweight 6-man tag team title matches I have seen ever, to be quite honest. So props to both teams here. And the Bishamon Oleg Bolton team did retain the championships in that match. The IWGP Global Heavyweight title #1 contendership match had Andrade El Idolo defeat Gabe Kidd. and what I thought was an excellent bout. It wasn't necessarily I thought it was going to be a show stealer, but it wasn't. But it wasn't a bad match either. Andrade showed out here completely. Gabe Kidd definitely helping Andrade look great in front of the Japanese crowd, even though he doesn't necessarily need it, due to the fact that Andrade's been in Andrade El Idolo / La Sombra has been wrestling in Japan for over a decade at this point. Between his stints with CMLL and AEW and things of that nature, Andrade looked great here versus Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd came out in Young Lion gear, black trunks, black boots. Some folks would say that I am reading a little bit too much into him wearing the gear, but I feel like Gabe Kidd was letting the fans know that, at least, this is my interpretation of it. This isn't concrete. I felt like he was going out the way he came in. That's the way I took him wearing that Young Lion gear.
I thought he wore that before.
What happened?
I thought he wore that.
No.
Toward the end of his matches before. Mm-hmm. I know the black trunks, but I thought he wore that outfit one time before, and that's why I didn't pay attention to it, because it was like, I think I've seen him in it.
No, but he's worn other trunks with like the New Japan with the lion mark on it and things of that nature, but never went back to his Young Lion gear has he done until this time around. So that's why I was a little bit taken aback by it, and I also mentioned why it made a little bit of sense to me, little bit of sense to me later on that night. To the next match, which was, man, I did not think that this match was going to go the way that it did. Callum Newman defeated David Finlay. Callum Newman dominated this match against David Finlay. Callum Newman came off as the new big bad in New Japan Pro Wrestling as he defeated the Boss Dog in a quite handy fashion. David Finlay definitely helping put Callum Newman over here and elevating his stature as the newfound leader of the United Empire, along with Callum Newman's new character. And it was a tremendous match nonetheless. So it's not like David Finlay didn't get in his licks. He did, but by majority, this was a spotlight match for Callum Newman, and David Finlay made him look like $1 million, and they accomplished that wholeheartedly there. For the never openweight title match, we had Ren Narita defeat Aaron Wolf in a title change. I didn't agree with the result of this match. I didn't agree with how this match went. I feel like New Japan Pro Wrestling put a lot and invested a lot into Aaron Wolf, especially when it came to Wrestle Kingdom and how they showcased him and things of that nature. And him losing to Ren Narita in such a quick fashion with the usual HOT shenanigans really cut Aaron Wolf off at the knees. I'm not too sure if they just don't trust in Aaron Wolf's abilities in the ring as of yet, which is why they did this. But from the bigger spotlight that they gave him at Wrestle Kingdom, to go from him losing the Never Openweight Championship here in the manner that he did, it just didn't sit right with me at all. And that to me was a negative on the show. The Knockout Brothers versus Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura, to me, was the match of the night. This tag team match was incredible. If I'm going to give you guys a match to go back and watch from this New Beginning in Osaka show, go back and watch the Knockout Brothers versus Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura. It gave you all the ups and downs and emotional roller coaster feels that you that people should feel in a wrestling match. And it was just fantastic, man. Shouts to both tag teams. The Knockout Brothers retained here against Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura. And I'm sure we'll see more from Shota and Yuya going forward in the tag division, and also with the coming New Japan Cup. And then for the end of the night, we had the main event of the IWGP Heavyweight title match. We had Yota Tsuji versus Jake Lee. A lot of fans, at least here in the West, America, or whatever you want to call it, did not like the booking of Jake Lee getting a title shot versus Yota Tsuji. A lot of fans who have had experience viewing Jake Lee matches didn't like that either. And I didn't understand why, because I knew from a knowledge standpoint, I knew that Jake Lee was a former champion both in Noah and All Japan, right? I never necessarily watched Jake Lee's matches before until this match here with Yota Tsuji. I can always applaud and give credit to folks when they want to try things that are different, when they want to bask in their art form and things of that nature, especially when their unique style or art lends to the credibility of, especially here in pro wrestling, lends to credibility of a match or lends to the story of the match within the ring. In this case, with Jake Lee and Jake Lee's antics, I said this during our review on True Heel Heat. What Jake Lee's gimmick character and his mannerisms and his actualizations are in the ring, they just don't work for the heavyweight title scene. And it was glaring in the sense that fans in Japan, where Jake Lee is from, specifically there in Osaka, they were not reacting to any of these antics that Jake Lee was pulling off in the ring. And the crowd was really more silent than they were buzzing like usual Japanese crowds are. Japanese crowds buzz when they're into stuff and whatnot. They're not loud, but they buzz. They weren't buzzing for this at all. They were there sitting in silence, indifferent to it, because it was just, for lack of a better term, it was just weird. And it just didn't feel like it had a place in a IWGP heavyweight title match. And Yota Tsuji did not help at all, because he didn't help to sell any of Jake Lee's antics during this match at all. So I give both of them, I put a lot of onus on both of them for not being able to get this match off. This is probably Yota Tsuji's worst match as a singles competitor that I've seen in quite some time. And that's even dating back to his freaking Young Lion days at the end of the day. So this didn't work at all. There were moments in the match where Jake Lee looked like a top form wrestler, but yet again, it was moments, right? The gimmick and character stuff overshadowed all of the top-notch wrestling moments that Jake Lee had in this match. And that to me is sad. And it needs to be worked on for all intents and purposes. And it's not like Jake Lee's some sort of a rookie either. So I don't want to see Jake Lee back in the heavyweight title picture again. It just does not bode well for New Japan and where they're trying to go right now. I have a feel that Tsuji's going to be fine at the end of the day. It was just a bad pick of an opponent here. But Tsuji retained, and then there's that about it. So yeah.
As somebody who's seen Jake Lee on a couple of occasions, I felt like this shouldn't have been a main event match. It shouldn't have been. Because I'm like, okay, what are we getting out of this? What are we getting out of this? But again, I'm not the type of, listen, I pick and choose my arguments. So for people's like, oh, Jake Lee, he's really great. I was like, well, I'll let you see. And he did what I thought he was going to do. Like, he has good moments, and then sometimes it's like he's doing too much. Like, I want to hit that song. Cash Doll doing too much. That's what I want. But I think he has a better potential in growing in New Japan than the other places he's been and other stops he's made. So me and Jay News, we both gonna go to the back. Wham! Because you already know what time is it. It's preview time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's preview time. Don't get scared. Don't get scared, because it's gonna be a fun ride. We're gonna start off with what I'm gonna do a little later on after I get off this right here. It's GCW Game Changer Wrestling. It's holy smokes. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right over it. We got Ray Orez versus Vendador. We have El Phantasmo versus Alec Price. And for the GCW World title, we have Atticus Cougar versus Sam Stackhouse. On to Progress Wrestling, Chapter 190. in the brightest day, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be on Triller TV. Also, GCW is also on Triller TV later on. On Triller TV today. So your girl is busy. Pre-show match, we have Aluna versus Maddie Morgan. Charles Crowley versus Unknown Appointment. We have Spike Trivet versus Bullet. We have for the Strong Style 16 men's tournament first round match, Josh Holly versus Simon Miller. We have Progress women's title match where Alexis Falcon will be facing Rio. We have Progress tag team title match with Diamond Eyes, Connor Mills, and Nico Angelo will be defending against the Sunshine Machine, Chuck Mambo and TK Cooper. We have Progress Atlas title match where Saxton Hutley will be facing Gene Money. That's going to be a wild one. And the last match we have is Man Like DeReese and Michael Oku versus Lycos Jim of Kid Lycos and Kid Lycos II. Ladies and gentlemen, on to New Japan Pro Wrestling. With CMLL, it is.
Yeah, man, it's the yearly occurrence of Fantastica Mania. The show, the single show, from what I believe, for the usual tour for CMLL talents is coming.
Yeah, they got 2 dates.
2 dates. Okay, so it's 2 dates this year instead of the usual 4 or 5. So we have the show on the 18th. We got the Fantastica Mania 2026 Tag Team Tournament, the first round match. We have Hijo de Stuka Jr. and Shoma Kato versus Los Viajeros del Espacio, Futuro and Valiente Jr. Hechicero is going to go one-on-one versus Zane J. In the first round tag team match, we're going to have Averno and Magnus versus Stigma and Tiger Mask. The other first round tag match is going to be Atlantis and Atlantis Jr., a father and son, going up against Kozimax of Okumura and Satoshi Kojima. 6 or 9, Master Wato and Ryusuke Taguchi, El Desperado, Masatori Yasuda will go up against Unbound, Koz Daiki, Nagai, Taiji Ishimori, Titan, and Yoda Tsuji. In a lightning match, match Relampago is going to be Soberano Jr. Versus Templario. So that's going to be a 10-minute sprint to see as to who gets the first fall. That'll be an exciting match there. Then we'll get Fantastica Mania's last tag match in the first round. We'll have Show and Ultimo Guerrero go up against El Sky Team's Máscara Dorada and Místico.
Okay, I just looked it up. We're covering 2 of the dates today, but they have 7. The tournament is on 2/27.
Okay, all right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on to Prestige Wrestling. And they will have the show Roseland, the end date, yes, on YouTube on the 20th. Okay, we don't have any matches listed, so we're gonna move on. Ladies and gentlemen, HOG House of Glory Pro Wrestling will be having a show also on the 20th, but on Triller TV. And the only match that was listed is HOG heavyweight title match where Charles Mason, the champion, will be facing Andrade El Idolo. On to Progress Wrestling. We have Progress Wrestling Chapter 194 for the love of Progress 4. We have, it's on the 20th, also Spotty Wrestling Days. Okay, y'all have me got fighting for my life up here. Okay, we have for the PWC Ladies title match, Melissa Fierce will defend against Session Martina. We have Young Guns of Ethan Allen and Luke Jacobs versus Sanity of Axel Tisha and Big Damo. We have the Super Strong Style 16 Women's Tournament first round match where Lana Austin will face Shotzi Blackheart. And on to New Japan CMLL. Fantastic. You see, J News, I tried to copy the little stamp they had for it, and it was like a man backflipping off a cliff. And I kept trying to get a pro wrestler off the cliff, and they was like, no, we're gonna put this sumo wrestler in. So I just like, after 15 tries, I was like, let me just go ahead and get a sumo wrestler.
Worked out. But this is the second date that's going to be streamed. So the tour is still in full effect, from what Dolores let me know. But there's only going to be 2 dates streamed here instead of the usual 4 dates that get streamed out. So this is going to be on the 21st. We have Hijo de Stuka Jr. and Shomakato going up against Masateru Yasuda and Stigma. Los Viajeros del Espacio, Futuro and Valiente Jr. going up against Unbound Co's Daiki Nagai and Taiji Ishimori. Cozy Max, Okumura, and Satoshi Kojima, along with Tiger Mask, going to go up against House of Torture members Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Yujiro Takahashi, and Magnus. And then 6 or 9, Master Wacha and Ryusuke Taguchi, along with Atlantis, are going to face off with Unbound Co, Shingo Takagi, Titan, and Yoda Tsuji. Averno and Ultimo Guerrero will tag against Atlantis Jr. and Templario. And then Hechicero, Show, and Soberano Jr. will face El Sky team of Máscara Dorada, Místico, along with El Desperado.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you already know it's the end of the show, but we do got spotlights because of Black History Month. We have been doing the spotlights. They have been on my channel each day, and this day will be from day 9 to day 15, and we'll talk about each one of them because, I tried this year to find something that maybe most people don't know about. We're going to start off with Queen Nanny, freedom fighter who led the Maroon resistance in Jamaica. She was also known as Queen Nanny, Granny Nanny, and was a revolutionary for the Jamaican Maroons. She led a community of formerly enslaved escapees, the majority of them West African in descent, called the Windward Maroons, along with their children and families at the beginning of the 18th century. Under the leadership of Nanny, the Maroons fought a guerrilla war lasting many years against British authorities in the colony of Jamaica, what became known as the First Maroon War. She's also on some Jamaican money, if you didn't know. We're going to go on to Paul Robertson. He was an African-American bass, baritone, concert artist, actor, professional football player, and activist who became famous both for his cultural accomplishments, but also his political stance. So that was day 10. Day 11, Marsha P. Johnson was an LGBTQ activist, sex worker, and performer who sometimes known as Saint of Christopher Street. She is known as an important figure in the LGBTQ and transgender rights movement due to her involvement in Stonewall riots, her work in the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, which is called STAR, and her advocacy for people with AIDS. Now we're going to go on to day 12. We're going to go on to Miss Clark. I know her name is, her middle name is Ponce. How you say the flower, J. News? Poinsettia Clark. Was an African-American educator and civil rights activist. Clark developed the literacy, let me put her face up there, her citizen workshops that played an important role in the drive for voting rights and civil rights for African Americans in the civil rights movement. Clark's work also was commonly underappreciated by Southern male activists. She became known as Queen Mother or Grandmother of the civil rights movement in the United States. Martin Luther King Jr. commonly referred to Clark as the mother of the movement. Clark's argument for her position in the civil rights movement was one that claimed knowledge could empower marginalized groups in a way that form legal equality couldn't. So if we come together, we could do better than trying to, move ahead. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to the next person, who is A. Philip Rudolph. He was African-American label
Philip Randolph.
Yes.
Dolores Randolph. The reason as to why I stepped in is because here in New York City, the high school I went to was named after the gentleman.
Yes. So, I that's what I was telling people last week here in Georgia. When we went over the Benjamin Banneker. We have a school here named Benjamin Banneker, and it was named after him. We have a lot of things most people do not even know. And even hearing them talk this week about Martin Luther King and his resistance initially, because he has the house he grew up in, and then the house him and Coretta had, that he had resistance on buying a home because of the things that people were experiencing and going through, kind of like the government, and then him end up buying this home where he raised his kids and had his kids and everything, and it was very powerful. But his real name is Asa, Asa, I think it's called Philip Rudolph. He was a unionist. Asa. He was a labor unionist, a civil rights activist. In 1925, he organized and led the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, the first successful African-American led labor union. In the early civil rights movement and the labor movement, Randolph was a prominent voice. His continuous support of fellow labor rights activists against racist labor practices helped led President Franklin D. Roosevelt to issue an executive order 8802 in 1941 banning discrimination in the defense industries during World War II. The group then successfully maintained pressure so that President H.S. Truman proposed a new Civil Rights Act and issued Executive Order 9980 and 9981 in 1948, promoting fair employment and anti-discrimination policies in federal government hiring and ending racial segregation in the armed services. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to Katherine Johnson. Everybody should know her if you watched the movie. She was an American human computer who calculations of mechanics as a NASA employee were critical to the success of the first and subsequent U.S. crew space flight. During her 33-year at NASA and its predecessor, the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, she earned a reputation for mastering complex manual calculations and helped pioneer the use of computers to perform tasks previously requiring humans. The space agency noted her historical role as one of the first African-American women to work at NASA as a scientist. And then we have today. Today we have Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler. Was the African-American physician, nurse, and author. She was the first African-American female doctor of medicine qualifying at the New England Female Medical College in 1864. Crumpler was also one of the first female physician authors in the 19th century. In 1883, she published a book of medical discourse, a medical book. She just did. The book has two parts: the cover, the prevention and the cure of infantile bowel complaints, and the life and the growth of human beings. Dedicated to nurses and mothers, it focused on maternal and pediatric medical care and was among the first publications written by an African American on the subject of medicine. So these are the people we highlighted this week. J News, what did you think about these people? I know you talked about the person you went to their school.
No, I mean for me, for all intents and purposes, like I told you last time I was on, this is more or less of a learning experience for me for a lot of the people that you are spotlighting here, especially for those folks that I never learned about in previous years and things of that nature. So, gotta appreciate the fact that you're putting the information out there, that you're spotlighting these folks during Black History Month here. Only reason as to why I even, like I said, I even noted anything about A. Philip Randolph was because I went to a high school that was named after that particular gentleman. And one of the first things that you learn going to that high school. At least when I went there back in the late '90s and stuff like that. One of the first things that you learn is about his history and why the high school was named after him and things of that nature. So there was that point of it, and everything else is just more me observing and listening to what you're saying and taking things in and learning about these folks that I had no knowledge about previous or prior, should I say. And yeah, it's just taking it in as a learning experience at the end of the day. So appreciate you for that.
No problem. Again, ladies and gentlemen, every day at 12 o'clock all the way to the 28th, I have it dropping on my channel and we just review it, when we come in here on Sundays. But I really do like the experience of learning about new people and new things. Coming from here from Georgia, we have a lot of African-American history here, things that have happened. And so it makes it, you want to learn more. And so for me, any holiday where I can show you all something or teach you all something, where it's something that I'm also learning and growing with, it's the greatest thing ever. So we're going to go back to the Hit the Road studio because it's time for J News to show y'all what he working with.
All right, folks, as per the usual, here's my QR code. Thank you, Delores. The QR code gives you guys some of the links to my socials, be it my Twitter, my Instagram, and my Letterboxd account. My Letterboxd account has written movie reviews of all the movies that I go see on a weekly basis. I'm an avid movie-going fan, so I write reviews, be it short or long, about the movies that I watch in the movie theater. I'll be having some more reviews up this week, as I will be back in the movie theater about 4 times this week. So look out for those reviews on my Letterboxd account there. I post on my Twitter account when I have streaming shows coming up with folks on True Hill Heat. I have to do better about posting about our own podcast on there, Delores. So you and I gotta go over how to format that just for us to put stuff up on days that we're going to be streaming and stuff like that, just so that can be something that we do consistently and garner more, hopefully garner more viewership in the future and things of that nature. My Instagram account, barely on there, to be quite honest. I think that Delores can vouch for that as well. I consciously have taken the route over the last last year or two to consciously not be online as much anymore. And I get it as a person who streams and things of that nature, and as a person who wants to have their name out there, it's kind of counterintuitive to do that. But the reality of the situation is that a lot of the content that goes on to social media and the online world is way more negative than it is positive, and it's just a lot of people with a lot of people talking their shit and a lot of yak and opinions I don't care for at the end of the day. So I'm not as online as I should be, which is why I hold all of my opinions to my hobbies and things that I like professional wrestling, like here with Delores and stuff, when I share my thoughts and views about something that I've been a fan of and viewing for over 30 years at this point. So I'd rather share that with you guys and it entertain you or inform you in some way, rather than just spew garbage and freaking type nonsense online and things of that nature. So sorry folks, I've just been in a very reflective mood lately, so I guess I needed to get that out. But as always, folks, back here every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the lovely Delores. We'll be back here on the Hit the Road podcast next Sunday. I'll be back on True Hill Heat next Monday, previewing the New Japan and the USA show with SP3 and Sanal, and then we'll do the review sometime that weekend, if not the following Monday, for the show then. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you. We always appreciate a good J News. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start off by saying thank you to everybody who came and supported me on our Super Bowl watch along last week. Listen, I had a good time, and just like I said, After Bad Bunny got off J News, I woke up the next day with my back was hurting, my knees were hurting. I had did too much. I was up there shaking and getting it all. I was just giving it all. If you all do not know, I love different types of music. On a note, next Saturday, sorry. Is it Saturday or Sunday? I think it's Sunday. I think it's Sunday. I will be doing the Elimination Chamber watch along here on the channel. Make sure you come and check it out. I have not set up yet, but I do want to let you all know Elimination Chamber is the last pay-per-view that is listed before the WrestleMania. Okay, so be on the lookout for these thumbnails. It'll be for night 1. It'll be the phone version. Remember, all the phone versions are in the phone, so you'll see night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania set up for you all. Also, ladies and gentlemen, J News is about to be surprised by the words that are coming out of my mouth. To 10 I already know. I am thinking of doing the collective again. This is why I'm doing the collective again. They're not doing 3, 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. They saved me on that. Okay. But right now, I'm not going to put anything up because we're going to go show by show. Everything will be set up. So be on notifications. We might do giveaways, might do other things, but just be on the giveaway. Only thing that will be guaranteed to be up is both WrestleManias and NXT Stand and Deliver. Everything else will come up as I feel like I'm going to do it. Because starting Wednesday, the 15th, they have Pondermania at 3 p.m., Dragon Gate at 8, 12 o'clock at night is the hybrid and Pro Wrestling Unplugged. The 16th, which is the Thursday, they have the Progress Wrestling at 11. 3 p.m. is the Mark Hitchcock show. I enjoyed that last year. Death Vegas Invitational at 8, and 12 o'clock is MD Fight Club. And then the 17th, I forgot what that was. And then the 18th, they have Effie's Big Gay Brunch, definitely going to be doing that. And then at 10 p.m. is Joy Janela's Spring Break, the Immortal Clusterfuck. Okay? Those are shows I like. The other new shows are new people we have never seen before, a part of the collective. And so maybe it's some new things that we might get and maybe we can incorporate into this. Ladies and gentlemen, also on the heads up when it comes to me, I'm not Delores Designs. You're going to find out on the underground, okay? But I will be doing webinars because I enjoyed the first one I did with you all with the vision board. And I need you all to sign up when it comes out, because what's going to happen is YouTube might be the last stop that video comes to. So don't miss out. Don't be like, man, I wish Delores had told me this 3 weeks ago. Because when I do the webinar, I'm going to take it to other social media platforms, and YouTube will be the last stop. So don't wait 3 weeks to get some information. If you had signed up, you would have got immediately. Okay? So let's go into the people who I so much appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the women's closet. We have 10. Speaking of 10, ladies and gentlemen, hold on a second. I want to tell y'all how much I love this woman 10. I got a package. I haven't been doing too many unboxings. I did one during the Super Bowl. But I joined the Educated Naturals membership, and I was the first one on my level because I got it like that. Okay? And I received, let me see if I can hold it up. It'll come up close. No, it won't. It won't be great. Okay, hold on. Y'all can kind of see it when I tilt it. I got a little business folder from 10. So as you see, it's pink. It's got the paper in it. It's even got the little pink notepad. 10 is a very supportive of the channel of me and J News. So I really appreciate her, and I am so grateful to get this done, get my business together, get it right, get it tight. Also, if you are part of the Women's Closet, please come and join. right now, we are a small, powerful group. And listen, God don't play about us that's in there. So please come and join. Have a place. You have a place where you can let your hair down, unwind, be yourself, and get some good advice if you need it. Listen, Tia knew I needed this. She knew I needed to get my business together. So when she sent this, and she's also very attentive, because most people don't remember that pink is my color. That is something I appreciate her about her, is that she listens to us. She gives us great advice. And we also talk. If she don't know something, somebody else might. We are very much a community of women together. So please join the Women's Closet. Go to theeducatednatural.com/women. Or if you want to get some business advice, have a one-on-one session with her, get your website together, anything, Ted can do it all. Please check out theeducatednatural.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you about Just Gifted. Listen, she means exactly what she says on this graphic. Be blessed or be a blessing. And like she says, the meaning of life is when you find a gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. And she makes incredible baskets, ladies and gentlemen. So please go and check her out, because listen, I can make a little basket, okay? I make them for the kid, okay? But her baskets, I be like, listen, I've been out here making bukus of money. If I was her, if I had that skill, I'd be out here just taking it down, J News. But another person you can learn from is Miss Shirley, the OG Gardner, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And she will be doing a giveaway, ladies and gentlemen. You might get some seeds you might not have, learn some things you might not learn, because she is at 1,800 subscribers at this point. Yay! Miss Shirley, the OG Gardner. Listen, as you see Annie the cat, she always is around. So make sure you come and check her out live every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, if you like AEW content, because they don't cover WWE, they'll come over here, but they don't want to do it over there. Go ahead and check out Workhouse Wrestling Network and gallop on over there and check them out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go down to Miss Joy. I'm trying to find Miss Joy. Nope, that's not Miss Joy. Miss Joy right here. Is that Miss Joy? Yeah, that's Miss Joy. Miss Joy goes live 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what it is that, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Joy S1 is where you find her crafting channel. Now you find her prayer and Miss Joy Praise. Okay? Still same time, still Thursday, same date, but just a different channel. So make sure you go over there. If you cannot find it, go over to Miss Joy S1 and check out her community section. You'll find the link to get over there where we come together to pray together. And also, don't forget, listen, as her Amanus or her social solutions, I'm going to tell you, we are in the process of getting Miss Joy where she is going to be producing her products to be sold, okay? Miss Joy knows how to make cups. Miss Joy knows how to quilt. She knows how to sew. She knows how to rhinestone. She's got a laser cutter machine now. Miss Joy can do everything. Listen, I feel like every time I hear Miss Joy making some new creative stuff, all of a sudden, J News, I hear, the power of Christ compels me, okay? I can't do that stuff, but she can do that. And so please go check out, learn how to make some new stuff from beginner to middle to even advanced. You see her story and how she's working through things. And sometimes mistakes happen, but Miss Joy shows you all. Please go check out Miss Joy. So with that being said, J News, I appreciate you so much. Listen, J News up here, he be helping me. I be fighting with words, ladies and gentlemen. I'm old, cranky, and I'm just old lady, just old. J News, I'm just old. That's all it is. All that gray hair, I'm just old. But you know what, J News, I want the people to know is that sometimes they be starting fires, okay? They be in here burning things down. Because they burn it down like Seth Rollins. Listen, it's a fire in here, J News. And I got the Captain Save, okay? And I gotta put it out, okay? So man, woman, child, them, they, it, whatever you want to be today, I need you to do me a favor, okay? I'm about to also cut it down because they're acting like you don't want to see me. They ain't want to act like you don't want to see me, J News. But listen, what I need you to do is, please keep your clothes on. Because listen, I ain't trying to see all that. But I got something that'll help you. And that's if I cut the lights off. Oh, cool breeze in here. I feel the breeze. Look at that. Got new breeze. I feel the breeze. Okay. But until then, me and J News will see you next week, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you keep the notification on because sometimes we might come a little late. Sometimes we might have to come on a little early. We'll try to let you know. But in case we have to switch, make sure you keep that notification. Also, make sure you go over there and subscribe to J News. Okay? His @ is at the bottom in the description. You see his name on the thumbnail. Ain't no reason why you shouldn't be over there subscribed to J News, okay? Because I hate for me to be like Cardi B, ding dong, 2 pieces in a biscuit, okay? Because you didn't subscribe to J News, okay? Make sure you go over there. Now listen, me and J News done did the Lord's work for today. We got to go to bed. But until then, peace.